Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome to the bonus show. A while ago, we did the story of the endangered rhino auction. Oh, well, the auction was to hunt one of these endangered rhinos. And the idea was that the person who wins this auction gives an incredible amount of money to get to hunt one of the rhinos that this money will then be used to protect. There are an estimated about 4,000 black rhinos remaining in the wild. This drew criticism from all over the place, and rightfully so. We all agreed that it was completely ridiculous.
Although, let me interject, because we're following up on the story. I did get some emails from viewers of ours who said that they are for conservation, but that we're kind of missing the point, and that these rhinos, a certain number will die anyway, and that using the death of one to raise money for conservation might actually do more good than doing nothing at all. So there was some pushback about that.
Right, potentially, but me personally, I think there's probably a way around that. So somebody won the auction, and then his name got leaked, and now he is getting death threats. Corey Knowlton, I guess, was the guy's name, and he's from Texas. He lives about 30 miles outside of Dallas, and leads international hunting trips for a Virginia-based company. So he's an experienced hunter. And his quote was, "I'm a hunter. I want to experience a black rhino. I want to be intimately involved with a black rhino. If I go over there and shoot it or not shoot it, it's beyond the point." Not sure what that means.
He wants to be intimately involved with a black rhino? What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know how killing something from a distance with a gun makes you intimately involved with it. That's beyond my realm of understanding. But I mean, if this guy really wanted to protect the rhinos, he would just say, "Hey, I'm just going to go look at one. I'm not even going to shoot it. Here's my money. Please use it well." Something tells me that's not going to happen. But I guess they have a certain rhino targeted that is older, male, and non-breeding. It seems weird to me that you have one targeted. I mean, what is there, like a tracker on it? Is that really hunting, or you use your GPS?
Yeah, a lot of the details about this just really strike me as like very macabre and just, I don't know. I don't like any of this.
Yeah, I don't like it either. But he's getting death threats from people, and I'm sure these are all just talk, but I guess it's probably a little disturbing to get death threats no matter where they're coming from, if you're not used to it. So we'll see what happens. I guess we might have a part 3 to this story, depending on if he shoots and kills a rhino, or if he just goes on a little safari to see them, or maybe to see the one he's supposed to kill. But it was $350,000 that earned him the right to hunt this rhino. And I don't know. I guess that could go a long way in a poor country where they're trying to save these rhinos. So we'll see what happens. Let's talk about a gun story. Are you familiar with Ryan Tannehill, the quarterback?
Only very loosely by name, I guess.
All right. Well, division rival here, Miami quarterback. Apparently his wife rented a Nissan SUV and left okay, hold on. She exchanged it for another car a few hours later, but had left an assault rifle, a big, powerful AR-15, in the trunk. And apparently that was all she left in the trunk, which is strange. I guess the next people who rented it were the ones who discovered it.
And you know what's funny about this? The picture of the people who discovered it, the picture taken by those who discovered it in the trunk was posted to Reddit a few days ago, and it became like a front page thing.
Huh. Interesting. Kind of blew up, huh? Yeah. And I mean, luckily, it's someone who wasn't going to take this gun and then kill a bunch of people who discovered it. But does this fit in the category of negligent gun ownership?
Oh, of course. Yeah, this is someone who apparently was a totally responsible gun owner, just, driving around with an assault rifle in the trunk, completely legal, sovereign citizen, and then just left it there. And, ultimately no crime was committed with the gun, so there's probably there's no legal repercussions. But yeah, this is a problem. And again, I'm curious. Number one, if she has a different gun, like a handgun in her purse as well, potentially, why do you need the assault rifle? Because what circumstances could come up where the handgun isn't enough and you need to and have time to go and get an assault rifle out of your trunk? And at the same time, if you only have the assault rifle in the trunk, are you really worried about just needing it all of a sudden? Because it would kind of take a while to park the car and then get it out of the trunk in order to use it. None of this story makes any sense to me.
Right. Very strange stuff. Yeah. And they're under a little bit of fire from this, but I mean, I guess there were no charges. I mean, it was just an honest mistake. And
it was just an honest, responsible gun owner mistake.
That's it. I don't think there was a magazine or any ammunition, luckily. But there it is. Ryan Tannehill's wife carries around an assault rifle, I guess. This brings up another story. Yesterday, when I was working at the bar, I was watching the football game, which didn't end so well. And the other door guy says, "Hey, come here, check this out." Points out on the street, and there's a massive gun demonstration, right? So there's people walking around with flags and signs, and they're all carrying guns. Most of them had assault rifles. There's some AKs, there's some AR-15s, some shotguns. Also, a bunch of people had holstered pistols. And, of course, they're carrying around, like, the Texas flag. There were a bunch of signs that said, "Come and take it." And I don't know, I kind of hate that whole mentality. Like, I don't think you're doing your team much of a favor.
Yeah, flaunting the guns makes you seem less responsible and makes it seem more legitimate to, quote, take your guns, because you're using them simply for show and for political demonstrations. Like, if you truly had the gun for hunting or self-defense, you wouldn't be parading it around downtown Austin. Right.
The sign, "Come and take it," is very antagonistic, too. I mean, that is promoting violence right there. You come and take my guns, I'm going to shoot you. And, of course, that's the entire mentality that leads people to want to take your guns away in the first place. I don't know. It's kind of stupid. But, there are like kids holding these flags who really have no concept of what's going on, but their parents are making them do it.
It's kabuki theater. It's unbelievable that this is going on. And by the way, why are they even doing this in Texas? I thought in Texas there was no problem with people having guns all over the place.
It's easy to get guns here. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess because they live here and there's just nowhere else to do it. But,
right. It was the most convenient place to irresponsibly parade their gun arounds for public, for perceived political benefit.
Yeah, not sure what they got out of it, but big demonstration, lots of guns, and yeah, it was quite a sight. All right, Japan wants one of their famous super maglev trains to be in the United States. So much so that they offered to loan us, what was it, half the cost of building it?
Yeah, something like that. And this is so funny because I'm sure that Japan understands this and they're just doing this kind of like as a PR thing. The reason why the US is not moving full steam ahead on fast trains has nothing to do with not having the money for it. In fact, it would be so stimulative to the economy to start really fast train development. The lobbying groups are never going to allow it. The airline industry and the automobile industry and the fossil fuel industry don't want fast trains. And the perfect example is back when we were up in Western Massachusetts, Lewis, our local airport was Hartford Airport, about 35, 40 minutes away from where we lived. To go to Washington, D.C. was a 50-minute flight, right? So the train took 8 hours. If we were to take the train from 20 minutes away from our town to D.C., it was an 8-hour train ride. The flight was a 35-hour drive, 15 minutes to get parked at the shuttle. We're up to 50 minutes. You have to check in an hour before. It's an hour and 50 minutes. The flight is 50 minutes. You're up to 240. And then you've got to get out of the airport and get back into the downtown, give it another 45 minutes, call it 50 just to make it a nice round number. It's about 3.25, 3.5 hours, something like that. So it's obviously much better. You're much better off flying, even though it costs more. If the train were to, instead of averaging 75 miles an hour, average 150 miles an hour, and you cut your trip from 8 to 4 hours, who's still going to really want to fly when in half an hour more, presumably for a little less or similar amount of money, you end up right downtown. You're far more comfortable. You don't have to deal with security, at least in the current American state of train security. And imagine if instead of the 150 mile per hour train, it was the 200 or 220 mile an hour train. Who's going to fly and who's going to drive? Because you can also drive it in 6.5 or so hours. It's a huge problem for the airline and automobile industry, and they're hugely opposed to increasing the speed of trains dramatically in this country.
And they're winning. They're having their way. It's working. The lobbying, as usual, is successful, and it's too bad. Yeah, maybe this is just a PR thing from the Japanese, kind of like, oh well, yes, you helped us build all this, and well now we're in the position to help you.
And would the U.S. even take that money? I mean, it would just. I think American politicians would never want to look like they need a handout from Japan, and even if there was not political opposition to speeding up trains, that in a significant way, that they wouldn't take the money anyway.
Probably not. And anyway, it's just a loan. Loans are to be paid back. So, yeah, probably not going to happen. But we do need this technology or something similar, like the vacuum tube or anything. We need to be headed in that direction. And I don't know. When fossil fuels run out, we'll have no choice, I guess.
Yeah.
So there it is. That's today's bonus show.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.